Do you want to tell her, or do you want me to?
I don't think this is the time or the place.
Well, I think no, we don't have to get into all the gory details.
And I am the voice of the voiceless.
That is undisputed.
Hey, this is TBK here. It's the Turnbuckle King. We are at the locker room once again, and it seemed like the McMahon family has not stopped, not at all. But today, we know about Vince McMahon stepping down recently, but now we're going to talk about the storyline of Billionaire father and son did not age well. What I mean by that is Vince and Shane McMahon past leads to Vince's lawsuit. So we're going to touch more into the history, because they said news have broken that there's been a lot of animosity between Shane and Vince over the years. I know that people have touched on it, they glimpsed at it, but it's really out there now. Amid of Vince McMahon, the lawsuit, and himself, resigning from the company. So it's definitely going on, and it's definitely a lot of reasons why Shane will feel the way he feels. But tune in to the locker room. We here. I will go over each segments and what led to this point, see what's going on, and also what led to this point. But definitely is stuff going on, and then there will be reactions as well. So buckle your seatbelts. We about to air the dirty laundry. So let's get into it. All right, so this will be the whole Shane McMahon thing. This is when Shane returned to WWE. This is what happened with Shane. This is when he returned to the company. He gave out some good gems of what is going on between Vince, and I think he kind of hinted at it. This is back in 2016 when Shane came back. So I'm going to play the clip, and then I'll react to give you my take on that. So let's get to the point, see what's going on. Whoa! He left a lot of money on the table just to get underneath from you. Basically, what Shane is saying, no matter how much money it took, he just wanted to keep his distance away from Vince. Like I said, this is not just storyline, guys. This is real life. He wants to stay away. Like, subscribe, and come to locker rooms. Real locker room stuff going on tonight. This is really So let's see what's going on with this situation here. Let's see. Okay, we're starting to see why he kept his distance away from Shane and Vince. Shane and Vince, why they had the animosity. I'm going to react to this part now. Shane McMahon wanted to buy UFC, and this is why they always see eye to eye. It says here that WWE Vince McMahon stopped Shane from buying UFC. Let's see what it means. UFC president Dana White confirmed a long-standing rumor this week that the WWE chairman declined to buy UFC in the early 2000s despite pitches from his son, Shane McMahon, to do so. So this is sad. And it says in an interview here, he knew of McMahon's considered possibly purchase UFC in the past. And it says in his words, I quote, Vince McMahon, for what I hear, his son Shane wants to buy the UFC. Vince had the opportunity to buy it. And Vince said, yeah, no, we're not going to buy it. And Vince could have bought this thing and just put it on the shelf, or Vince could have bought it and let his son run it. So Shane wanted to buy UFC. Interesting. You wanted to buy UFC. He did not want to do that anymore. But it's wild. They did not want that anymore. He did not want Shane to buy UFC, and I think this is a low down thing to do. Shane was just trying to do his own thing. He did not want to follow, Vince at all. Like you said, Chubb won't work anymore. Salute to you, XL Pro. But this is low down. How can you do that? Vince was scared of competition. It's obviously Vince was scared of competition. He was scared of competition, y'all. He did not want his own son to buy UFC. Now, Dana White just said this back in September, and he wanted to buy it, and I heard more than once. And it says here that he declined to buy it despite pitches from his son to do so. So if they say pitches, that means he wants to do it more than once. But this is no good. If Shane had ran UFC, I know Vince eventually sold it to UFC. We know the company that owns it, which is Endeavor, and create TKO. But still, I think Shane would have did a great job if he ran that. He did a great job. That's sad though. Vince, you come off as a hater. He didn't even want Shane to buy it. And of course, W has some links to UFC previously, including signing Ken Shamrock to a pro wrestler contract. But they said Dana White said Vince McMahon didn't see enough value in buying it, which you end up selling to it though. You want to buy it, sell yourself to it. This is crazy. Now they under the same umbrella. But he didn't want Shane to buy UFC. So I see why there's animosity there. Like I said, there was always some tension there. Also, another thing I'll bring up too, there was more tension between them. Let's see what else is going on. Because Shane, he said it too. Let's see what else he was talking about. Because, like I said, there was tension between them. Let's see. Let's see what's going on. So let's come to the locker room, please. Hit the like and subscribe to the Toxic Ring Scandal. Mick Foley did an interview with Shane McMahon. This is the same year when he came back. And let's see what else he had to say. Shane McMahon had a tell-all podcast hosted by Mick Foley. This is May of 16. Like I said, same year Shane came back. And let's see what he said pretty much in it. And that's Shane and Vince with, a young, very young Shane with his dad Vince. He said, I wasn't going to allow a deteriorating business relationship affect our personal lives. This interview where he told Mick Foley. And it said here, it stopped being a collaboration. It stopped being fun. This is on his departure from WWE. So he knew there was definitely some funny stuff going on between Shane and Vince. Definitely. Let's see what else is going on here. Let's see. This is not good. He said, leaving him a fresh perspective, it was a move that surprised and hurt his father. And while couldn't fathom how he could leave all that money on the table, he said that was just not a storyline. He said that in the storyline. He also said it here. Some people look at it as a saying. I look at it as growth. So Shane was literally trying to get away from his dad. He literally trying to get away from his dad, though. That shows a lot of tension between those two. Like I said, not storyline. There was a lot of problems between those two. Let's see what else more you have to say in the interview. This is crazy. I know he mentioned too that he didn't see his dad a lot growing up. Say he missed him a lot. He said he don't blame Vince for not being gone so much. It was a part of business. One thing he did say that was important was, I know he said in the interview that the relationship between a father and a child, no matter what it is, it can deteriorate relationship, like he said. But also, I think also as well that I think Stephanie was always the favorite and not Shane. And Jim Ross, he pretty much said this in an interview. He said this too, that it was pretty much a issue. Let's see what he had to say. Jim Ross said this on his podcast, Good Old JR. He said Vince promoted Shane over Stephanie. Backstage. And he says too, Vince told me one time the girl Stephanie's more like me than the boy Shane. I don't know how we got a conversation, but Vince always saw Stephanie had that eye of the tiger and was aggressive, sometimes hyper aggressive, said Ross. That's what he wanted. He wanted controversy and strong leadership. He wanted impactful players in the role that he had. And he, though, that Stephanie had more Vince personality than Shane, who was more like Linda. So that's probably why Shane left, and that's probably why Stephanie stayed on as long as she did. But it's definitely it was a lot of animosity between Vince and Shane. Definitely a lot going on. And I think the reason of the issues between Shane and Vince, I think at the end of the day, Shane and Stephanie, they wanted no part of Vince McMahon and all the stuff that was going on. No part of it whatsoever. Because if you notice that Stephanie ended up resigning too at one point, we see this happen several times. We saw how Shane left. He disappeared in WWE in 2009. He left, then later on we see another pattern. Like I said, not only he left, but Stephanie eventually left too. She also left. She resigns as Father Vince becomes chair again. They did not want to be involved with their dad no more. They got tired of Vince and all the stuff that was going on. Then fast forward, look what happens. Like I said, he has to hush money. He's accused of a lawsuit. And then he steps down again after the accusation. But I think Vince and Shane could never see eye to eye. Vince is all about doing things all wild and crazy and toxic, and Shane's more level-headed, more straight-laced, just want to keep things quiet and just do your thing. Vince is crazy. And I think the reason Vince is crazy for that matter, Vince had past trauma, and it says it right here. It says that said he was molested as a child. They say young Vince McMahon had a rough, but not only was he beaten as a child, but he was also abused. He never came out, has never come right out and said what happened, but he has been mentioned about being abused in the past interviews. There's some quotes from his interview in the Playboy magazine. Was all the abuse all physical? There was abuse too. That's not anything I would like to embellish just because it was weird. Did it come from the same man? No, it wasn't from the male. Later on in the interview, it says here we can leave that topic, but one last thing first. You said that abuse in your childhood wasn't from the male. It's well known that you are estranged from your mother. Wow, I did not know that. Estranged from his mother. Have we found the reason? He pauses, nods. Without saying that, I say that's pretty close. Also, like I said, past trauma with Vince McMahon. Past trauma. Let's see what else is going on. Let's read more into this. Let's read his more past trauma. Say he got into a lot of trouble as a teenager. They say a troubled childhood. Get in trouble when he became a teenager. He wouldn't fit in with a lot of kids, and as a result, he resorted to violence as a way to solve his problems. So Vince was violent, and he was SA as a child. It's frustrating for a child to know that you're different and you won't fit in. Maybe you're not quite as bright and made fun of. Kids will do that. I guess maybe I've always resorted back to the one common denominator. I was terribly frustrated like that, and of course that would be physicality. He also had a fixture for stealing cars and other legal things as a teen. I stole automobiles, but I've always brought them back. I just borrowed them, really. There were other thefts too. I ran a load of moonshine in Harlow, North Carolina in a 1952 Ford V8. That was a bad car at the time. So it just continues. He also went to military school. They say after getting in trouble numerous times, he had two options. He could go state reform school or he could go military school. Lucky for him, his father, Vince McMahon Sr., was able to afford to send him to military school. It was reform school or military school. I went to Fishburne Military School in Waynesboro, Virginia, in the Blue Ridge Mountains. Military school was expensive. My mom was still my guardian and she couldn't afford it, so my dad was notified and he paid. Okay, I know it said too that he means biological dad till he's like 12 years old. Vince looked at military school as a chance for a fresh restart. He says that even though he didn't know his father well at the time, him paying for school made a lasting impact on him. I would see him in the summertime and on an occasional holiday. That he was willing to send me to that school made an impression. It was a chance to start over. Maybe it don't seem like that I changed since I was the first cadet in school history to be court martialized. But at least I started to change. No one really knew who I was at Fishburne. I had no badass reputation to uphold. But he was still getting in trouble, and the military school would be a lot better than reform school than he was destined for. So let's see what else. They said he terrorized in his military school. Wow. This is crazy that this happened. This is crazy, man. Wow, this is crazy. Man, this is crazy. It just gets worse and worse, the situation here. So let's see what else is going on here. All right. Vince terrorized his military school. Vince McMahon is a notorious practical joker backstage at WWE. It's something he's been doing his whole life, as evident for some of the stories from his time in the military school. He says he used to steal the colonel's car at the military school, taking joyrides. Man, Vince, you love taking cars, don't you? Love taking cars. Okay, he said I was lucky and a little crafty, and if I wasn't caught for some stuff that would have immediate dismissal, like stealing the commandant's car. Colonel Zinneker had an old gray beat up Buick, and he always left the keys in. This was a bad kid back in the day. Bad. Said he always once fed one of the colonel's dogs a laxative. He also had a dog that he was nuts about. I love animals, but one day I couldn't resist giving the dog a laxative. Why is he giving dogs laxative? What is wrong with Vince? Vince is crazy. I gotta say, Vince McMahon is a savage. He's a savage. He was a savage, man. He got problems, man. He was savage as a child. He also, let's say, he also put laxative some hamburger, and the dog did his business all over Commandment's apartment, which threw me great. I shouldn't be laughing at this, but it's funny that he did this as a teenager. It explains his behavior later on in life. Of course, and I see he never did the self-improvement on himself to get better. It's just Vince got worse. He got older, and he did way more terrible things in his behavior. It's just Vince McMahon had more money and more resources to back it up. Still no good, though. It looks like we know where Vince gets his aptitude for practical jokes. Lucky for Vince, as he mentioned, he never got caught and would have been kicked out of school. Who knows where he even ended up. This is not practical jokes. This is just crazy. I don't consider this joking. I don't know why they're saying he's a practical joker. Vince, you're just one hell of a guy. You're one hell of a guy, man. You used to getting your way and doing what you want, and you used to throwing your weight around, so to speak. This is not playing jokes. Being a practical joke, for example, is putting a whoopee cushion and someone sits down and fart, or stuff like that, or throwing spitballs, for example. You put laxative in a dog. Now I know I'm laughing because it's crazy he was doing that stuff. You shouldn't be doing that to no animal. You harming that animal. That's wrong. And then two, you were stealing cars, Colonel's cars at that. And like he said, he could have went to reform school, and I think it would have did him better instead of going to military school. He was just an entitled, spoiled brat even then. He just always was a brat. I see this is past behavior. And it followed him his whole life. This is what happens when people get what they want all the time. This is crazy. You guys let me know in the chat, in the comment section, what you think of this. He was just always an entitled person. Okay, let's continue on what we read here. It said Vince was a terrible student. You might not know that Vince graduated East Carolina University with a degree in business in the late 60s. Vince said he was never really school smart. I hated economics, sat in the back row, didn't like subject. It's all about numbers, not people. Wasn't wild about statistics either. I didn't do well, had a grade point average of 2.001. You need a 2-point average graduate. He said the graduation came down to a couple of classes. He had to knock on his professor's door personally in order to get them to change his grade. What the hell, Vince? I said you entitled. I had to go back to a couple professors to get them to change me from a B plus to an A, or I wouldn't have made it. I guess they didn't expect a knock on the door from a student who wouldn't take no for an answer. Ding, 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 ding. Wouldn't take no for an answer. And I think Goodbread just said that. He never got told no. And it says it right there. He hasn't. Let's continue on. Someone who was saying he's been for 5 years and his wife's been here 3, and she's graduating and she's pregnant. Linda McMahon, he means. Now they figured this kid has either made one hell of a story or maybe it's true. Either way, it didn't hurt them to change the grade. Now that's persistence, something Vince McMahon is known for, and why he's been successful in his lifetime. And he was a salesman before he became the visionary behind WWE, being global, creating a global empire known as WWE today. He was a salesman. Say he got a job after college as a salesman. His wife Linda had just given birth to their first child, Shane McMahon. He needs to support the family. He held numerous sales jobs and couldn't handle it. Here's Vince telling a story about his time as a salesman, how much he hated it. I'm not good with, as he would say, fucking machines. They have no personality. I went there to a job selling cups and Sweetheart ice creams for the Maryland Cup Corporation in Owings Mill right outside Baltimore. I would get up early and work a zillion hours, but it wasn't for me. I mean, they want you to talk about all the characteristics of an effing cup. I didn't know he worked for Sweetheart ice cream cones. It's a paper cup with plastic coating, and it has a certain lip type thing. They cook it such in such a temperature. One day, here I am selling this guy on a cup. Looks at me and says, "Son, you don't really give a damn about that cup." And I said, "No, I don't, and thank you very much. That was for that job." See what else we know about Mr. Vince McMahon. He used to work a 90-hour-a-week job. That probably explains why Vince is a workhorse that he's always been. That probably explains why. Let's see what this means that. Let's get into it. Let's see what's going on. It says, Vince McMahon's ridiculous work ethic is something that has been spoken about many times. There's no great example than his job prior to entering the wrestling business. Vince used to work as a mill operator where his job was to crush stones. It was a job that he had to work 90 hours a week. In an interview, he asked if the number was an exaggeration. He said, "No, it's not. Linda would tell you, I drove a huge dump truck at Rockville, crushed stone, and after a while, I got promoted to the pug mill. Linda still teased me for it. A pug mill is where you combine different levels of rock and dirt, and I was made the pug mill operator. Now that was big time. Eventually called his break after promoter." Wow. Eventually he caught his break after promoter was caught stealing from his father. All this time been pestering my dad, let me work with him. Come on, Pop, you know I love this stuff. He had a promoter in Bangor, Maine, who had been caught stealing. All the stuff. Well, this ain't really somebody else. Caught stealing above and beyond the norm. I should say in those days, all promoters stole, including you. You stole too, Vince. But you can steal too much, and then you're a thief. The delusion. So Vince McMahon pretty much it explains his childhood. Vince McMahon always has some type of drama with him, no matter what the case may be. It was always some tension between him and Shane, and I think the reason Vince has in his show that he had death issues, he's getting a lot of trouble, and he wasn't the best student wise. So it was always an issue between Vince and Shane. And I think once Shane saw part of that Shane didn't want to deal with it anymore. And he wanted out of there. He kept his distance from his father all these years. He left WWE, and put his resignation in 2009 and effective in 2010 when he left. He was off WTV for a while, came back 2016, stayed around a little bit while. I know recently at the World Rumble last year that him and Vince got into it as Shane was booking himself and the talent was unhappy and quote unquote Shane was fired from Vince. And we did see Shane McMahon at the WrestleMania last year, but he tore his quad. I don't know what's up with quads and McMahon family. Shane, Vince tear quads, Triple H tear quads. I don't see what the deal is with that. Anywho, it showed that there were always issues, and also that he, I think the thing that really ticked Shane off is Shane wanted to buy UFC, and Vince shut it down. Dana White just presented that in an interview recently, and once he was trying to do his own thing, Vince didn't like that because Vince saw that it was competition and he considered his son competition, and Vince was scared that maybe Shane would do better than him, and we seen Vince to do that. If someone's trying to outdo Vince or something that Vince created or do something good, we seen this with Triple H as well. Vince McMahon will do anything he can at any cost to sabotage it. We just saw that earlier when he had bad grades in college. He got his professor to change grades from B's to A so he could graduate with a 2.0 grade point average. So he was always like that with Shane and anybody who he saw as a threat. So it's sad that Vince is like that, and Vince needs to grow up. But Vince clearly has issues, and it's issues that dates back to his childhood. And also as well, not only Shane didn't want to get away from Vince McMahon, but also Stephanie McMahon wasn't no part of Vince either. Shane not only stepped away, but Stephanie stepped away when Vince came back from stepping down back in, from when the merger happened with WWE and TKO, Endeavor creating TKO Group Holdings. But now no one wants to be involved with Vince because it's number of McMahon family drama. This is literally McMahon family drama, and Vince is just messy and he's toxic and he's all over the place. Very, very toxic dude. And, and now it's just everything's coming to light, and Shane McMahon brought that in a storyline when he came back in 2016. And like I say, everything in 2016, he was speaking earlier in the promo. He's speaking it now. It all makes sense. It all comes to existence, no matter how you see it. But it was definitely some tension between Shane and Vince McMahon. Definitely tension between these two. But I believe that, I think WWE will be better now that Vince is out, completely out, no matter who. And they said, they reported they're trying to keep Vince McMahon people away. We saw with Kevin Dunn. We see it with other people. So not many of his cronies going to be around much longer. So that's all I had to say. That's all I have regarding the subject of pretty much Vince McMahon and Shane McMahon. And it comes down to the storyline of Billionaire Father and Son did not age well. Thank you guys for coming out to Toxic Reign Scandal. This is our last right before Royal Rumble. We're starting that shortly. Thank you all for coming out. Like I said, I will post more stuff of the old Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon drama, and what else that led to Vince McMahon's demise. You guys let me know in the comment section, the chat, live chat, what you think so far. If there's anything I missed, or anything you want me to add, or something you may want to add. But that's all I have regarding the subject. Thank you all. Soon to bills pop up for YouTube. One will be Vince McMahon resigns from TKO after misconduct claims. Second video will be Vince McMahon accused of trafficking, assault a former WWE employee. Until then, it is OUT.